In the previous round, I did a lot of cutting and butchering to get this 54 Renault body to fit my Beetle floor pan. Now we got to build some body mountings to make this a much more permanent marriage. Coming right up. How's it, jokes? My name is Duff. This is Rat Ross for Africa, and I am busy with an EU move. That's EU as in European Union, because I am unifying a 1954 Renault 4 CV, which is French, with a German 1971 VW Beetle floor pan. So yes, there's quite a bit of an age difference there between these two partners. I'm not quite really sure who will be the male and who will be the female in this wedding. I think I'm going to leave that to you to decide, depending on your point of view, I suppose. What I do know is that the Beetle is always going to be in charge of the Renault, because it will decide where the Renault must go. In the previous round, I did a lot of cutting and trimming to get the Renault body to sit where I wanted. I had it on and off, I don't know how many times, and it was quite a struggle, but now it's finally there. However, it's sitting very loose, and I would like to roll it out so I can do some work on my Hudson truck again. Yes, if you didn't know, this is my wife's project, so I'm building this for her. I mean, I can't spend all my time working on her project. I got to do some work on the Hudson as well. We haven't worked on it for quite a while. So before I can roll it out of the way and bring the Hudson in, I need to actually build some body mountings so we can have this secure. So let's do it. So I've got to come up with a way now to attach my Renault body to the Beetle chassis up here. The Beetle body was originally attached at these 2 points on the front suspension, so it would just make sense if I use those points again. Now I've already started here by stiffening this bit of tin through adding this length of flat bar that I've just tack welded on here. I also welded in this piece of box section 38 by 50, inch and a half by 2. I welded in between the two original structural members here. So that's going to give me a nice strong starting point. And now my idea is to come from here and build something that sits across here, and then I can bolt through that. There you go. These mounting brackets are done and they are firmly bolted down now onto the original mounting points on the Beetle front axle. I've got this cross member welded in between the two original structural members of the Renault. Maybe you can't see it, but I've also actually welded in a piece of flat bar in there, effectively turning this whole thing here into a sort of an angle bar to give additional stiffness. This cutout for the steering column still needs to be opened up a little more. I also have to cut it this way some more too, so I can have more clearance for my steering column itself. And yeah, when that is said and done, I will build a cover plate to cover all of this, but that will be somewhere in the future. And then the openings I cut here for the shock towers, I'm planning to box them to close this up again and also tie them into this, as well as taking it down to the original structure down there. And that's going to also assist to stiffen up everything a lot more. And of course it will also prevent water and mud and whatever from coming into the, you call this a boot? A trunk? Whatever. Let's see. Yes. Lucky man. Okay, so with my front end secure, let's go see what we need to do in the back. Okay, well, the front's not going anywhere anymore, but now I gotta figure out the way to attach the body in the back here. Now in the previous video I did all this butchering and that's actually the torque tube from the Beetle chassis sticking through right here. But I have a plan here now. I've already made this template. How does it go? Like this. So if I stick in a nice bit of plate and weld that in like that and drill a hole here, I can pick up that bolt hole that's sitting here on the torque tube casting, and that will be a good beginning to attach the back end of the body. So I'm just going to make a plate like this for both sides, and then we see how this works out. Always worth spending a bit of time to clean off all the rust and the paint. It just makes the welding so much easier and better. This tapered tungsten carbide tip works great to get into tight corners, to get rid of paint and rust. So I use it a lot in tight spots like this. So my piece of plate can go in like this now. Got a hole there, so I can now bolt it into that bolt hole that sits on top of the torsion bar tube casting, or whatever you call it. Now it's tight, but it'll work. So now I can weld this into place And I need to stick a piece of plate in here as well. Okay, lekker man, so I got my two mounting plates in on either side, fully welded. I've also got these pieces in place, so now my hole is fully closed up again. All of this is 3mm 1/8, that's nice and strong. These M10 bolts now go through a hole in my plate, and then it's screwed into that threaded part of the torque tube casting down below. Yes man, now it can't go anywhere. Yeah, so it's still messy here, but when I take the body off again, I'll just trim this up a little bit and maybe box it with some plate. And then yeah, look down here, this here, that original bit of steel that attached the pan was sitting here. I just cut that off. Got in my way and I don't really need it anymore. So I'll just tidy all of this up a little bit more. But that'll only happen when I take the body off again. I also spent a fair bit of time to help my mate Robbie sand these wooden countertops for a project of his. So yeah, obviously I didn't get more work done on the Renobug in this round. This drum sander lives in a dusty and messy corner of one of my other sheds. The machine comes from a time when I did woodworking for a living, but that was 15 years ago. Can you believe it? So obviously I hardly use this machine these days, but my mate Robbie is still involved with woodworking, so he comes across from time to time to use the machine to sand up some boards and kitchen countertops for projects that he's involved with. And I really don't mind. Glad to help out the brother, and at least this way we keep the machine alive. Did you? My Nautica body is sitting where I want it. It's lined up. It's attached. Can't go anywhere anymore. And I can now push it around if I want to. And I do want to. Because I want to bring the Hudson back in. So I can do some work on my truck for a change. So I think we're going to push the Wifey's little Renobug out of the spot here for a while and get back onto the Hudson. I can't wait. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me out here in the shop. I enjoyed your company. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, have a lucky one, my brothers.